Here are 15 of the best Ask Reddit stories for today. I hope you enjoy and remember to subscribe. It really helps us out. We post new videos every day.
What is the most cruel thing a family member has done to you? When I was about 20, my cousin Julie announced that she would be getting married. My mom came to me and tearfully explained that Julie wanted me to wear a recently deceased grandmother's wedding dress so that it would be like a part of my grandmother was at the ceremony. It had to be me because my grandmother was very slim and I was the smallest person in our family. I agreed. I tried on the dress and it was too tight, way too tight. My mother told me to starve myself and don't put a single thing in that mouth. I did. I starved myself stupid for 3 months. I was sickly, pale, had dropped about 20 pounds from my already slender frame and had constant headaches, but the dress fit. My mother kept telling me how great I looked. We flew to the wedding, my family lives across the country. Everyone was shocked at my appearance but said nothing. The day of the wedding came and I appeared in my grandmother's wedding dress. I thought people were acting strangely towards me but I didn't think too much of it. I found out later that Julie had not asked for me to wear the dress. She knew nothing about it. My mother had been telling people that I was on drugs, which isn't true. To get attention and sympathy, she convinced me to drop weight and show up to Julie's wedding in my dead grandmother's wedding dress to show everyone how drugged out and unstable I had become in order to get more attention and sympathy.
What jobs pay surprisingly high that no one knows about? Being a video game tester, I make $20 an hour and it's pretty enjoyable depending on the games you pick to test out. Edit. Since everyone was asking, you can get these gigs through sites like moneytogame.com. Nuclear divers, you only have to work once every few months because of the amount of radiation you receive, and can make up to $100,000 per year. The traveling version of anything. If you have any skill that you are willing to drop everything and go do at a moment's notice in some random place, you can get paid quite well. Some people put down trade jobs such as plumbing, welder, etc. because they do not require a college degree. After completing trade school, and if you are accepted into a union, you can make a more than decent amount of money and have great benefits to go with it. There are more alternatives than college where you can make a living for yourself, and getting a trade is a great alternative. My funniest racism experience in China. So I'm a black guy who lived in China for a year. Racism is quite different in China, and to be honest, it literally is in your face and it could even get life-threatening at times. I've had a lot of bad experiences, but this one was one of the ones I actually liked and one I didn't mind. I was riding on the train in Beijing, minding my own business, and all of a sudden, someone shoves an earphone to my ears from behind, and I was surprised and pissed that this happened. And lots of rude people in China, so you're always on the edge. I turned around instantly and it's this teenage girl and she was hyper and very happy to see me, it seemed. And then she says the most unexpected shit ever. She says, "I like rap music." Wow. I was so shocked but not angry. It was just too surprising and something I wasn't expecting after having earphones shoved on my ears. And I shit you not, the music was not even a black guy. It was fucking Eminem. The whole thing brought a smile to my face because I knew it was just ignorance and not arrogance, and you can't be mad at ignorance. She wanted to take selfies with me, selfie with a black guy. I allowed it. We took selfies and we parted ways. What is the most ridiculous thing you have seen at a party? We threw a party that got way out of hand and too many people showed up. I go in my living room and a girl is in the couch petting a dog. I ask, whose dog is this? She says, the people who live here. I reply, I live here. This isn't our dog. A stray dog had been walking by and noticed a party happening and just walked inside and got on the couch and was being pet all night by drunk people. A friend of mine did a Scooby-Doo themed party where he DM'd people their costumes that they should wear. I got Shaggy. Simple enough, just a green shirt and brown pants. I walk in the door to the party, and I'm welcomed by the sight of 40 people, all dressed as Shaggy. It was glorious. A drunk guy in a full gorilla costume sitting on a couch outside sees a drunk guy in a full banana costume riding by on rollerblades. They both immediately stop and turn towards each other, and without a single word spoken, charge full speed at each other and begin wrestling. About a minute later, both get up, winded, and the banana guy rolls off into the sunset, never to be seen again. What is the darkest thing you have ever done and don't regret? Got into a car accident and had to stay with my mom for a couple days to figure out what to do. Went back to my apartment. I had 2 roommates, and everything was missing from my room. Long story short, one of my roommates had everything hidden in her room. I called and told her the things were missing from my room, and she came up with a lie that a couple girls came to look at my room. I was moving out because of the accident, long story, and that they must have taken my things. She had everything I owned, including my grandmother's perfume bottles, stuffed to the back of her closet, under her bed, behind her dresser, etc. So I packed all of my stuff up. Then took a giant black garbage bag and stuffed as much of her closet in it as I could. Took it to the middle of nowhere, dug a hole and burned it. She called screaming at me that her stuff was missing. I told her the 2 girls must have come by and taken her stuff too. Former spoiled rotten kids, when did the real world really hit you? I wasn't necessarily spoiled, but I definitely grew up in a very privileged family, upper middle class, academic dad and lawyer mom. I was 17 and I got a job as a porter at a hotel to save and travel for a bit before going to uni. I went to Indonesia and I was staying in a decent but not crazy fancy hotel near the Borobudur temple. It was my first night and I had no idea if tipping was the normal thing, so I put a US $5 bill under my plate when I left. As the waitress cleared the plates and I was walking away, she freaked out, thinking I had left it there. She didn't speak a lot of English, but I got it across that it was a tip and she basically broke down. It was all money, so I was really confused. Made the mistake of googling median wages of the area when I got back. Median, not even minimum, salary is about $3,000 a year. What I made in about 2 hours at a minimum wage hotel job, she made in a week working 80 hours. I tipped well all through my trip, even bought the crappy knickknacks from the hawkers by the temple. It was effing gutting. Secret do you know that could destroy someone? My white co-worker has been cheating on her white husband with a black guy. She tells her husband that she sometimes comes to the office on weekends to get work done. She has been going to the other guy's house. One time her and her husband came by the office to drop off an extra table from their house for an event. I was in the office as I often work weekends. The husband kind of gave me a funny look as she asked what was I doing there because she never sees me here when she comes in on weekends. She is now pregnant. Overheard her talking, telling someone that the baby isn't her husband's. She is nervous. I'm the only black guy in the office. I'm nervous. I didn't think it was a big deal, but I saw my boss pick her nose and wipe it under her chair. I casually asked if she was saving it for later and she was mortified. A project I had been wanting to start was approved the next day. What is the most messed up thing someone admitted to you while drunk? Sitting around shooting the shit with neighbor and he tells me that 15 years prior, he and a buddy accidentally took a man's life over a misunderstanding. They tossed him in their car and drove down some country roads and found a spot to throw him out. Woke up the next day to a backseat full of blood, and had a vague memory of the whole thing, but couldn't remember where they dumped him. He said they lived in fear every day of getting caught, and after about a year his buddy left town never to be heard from again. He said he himself married, had kids, and lived his life, that every year that passed, he felt safer, and more certain they'd gotten away with it. I wasn't sure whether to believe him or not, but a couple of days later, in a really sober moment, he asked if I'd said anything about his story to anyone. I told him no. He very calmly told me that 3 people knew, himself, the buddy who vanished over a decade ago, and me, so if anything came of it, he'd know where it came from. Luckily he went to jail for a DUI, and I moved away. What is a mind trick you know of? Learn this one second hand from a smuggler. People tend to notice things they're looking for, and once they don't find it, or even better, they do find it, they ignore everything else. So if you want to slip something by someone, make sure they catch you on something that doesn't matter, and they won't focus on what you're hiding. The story behind this is that in Berlin while the wall was up, there was this smuggler who used to ride, every day, from East Berlin into West Berlin, or perhaps it was vice versa. I don't remember, with a bag of sand on the back of his bicycle. Every time, the checkpoint guards would cut open the bag of sand, search through it, find nothing, and let him go on his way, and every night he would return. They never realized that he was smuggling bicycles. In class, if it's a presentation where someone has to present without looking at notes or anything like that, and while they're up in front of classroom presenting, some people forget what they're talking about, space out, freak out, and lose their train of thought. To counter this, nod your head at the end of each sentence they say, confirming what they're saying. They will somehow use this as a motivator, and 9 times out of 10 will keep presenting without fault. What are some harmless ways to fuck with people? Every other week or so I'd change which side my coworker's drill's belt clip was on. 2 screws in 30 seconds for a maddening payout. I'd kiff he ever caught on, as he sadly passed away last year. I got a huge kick out of doing it though. Might bring that one back as most of us share the same brand of drill. He got a great one on me. Every day or two he'd hide a Magic the Gathering card in my toolbox, never the same spot twice. Genuinely made me mad when I'd pick something up only to see another card hidden beneath. Eventually I had enough cards to completely cover his locker door inner and outer. He never took them off. Even cut out cards to fit the vents on the locker. I spent a good hour or 2 on my day off making it. Proud of that one. R.I.P. Chris. Pranks haven't been the same since you left. Your locker still remains covered in magic cards and nobody has questioned it to this day. What's your main reason for not having more sex? My sex drive has just been super low lately. Moved to a new town, live with smoking hot girlfriend who I love and loves me back. She's amazing and has a super high sex drive. I enjoy having sex with her, even. I just don't have a job, I'm not getting out of the house much, probably not enough exercise either. My libido is just fucking gone. It's actually becoming a problem in the relationship. Job interviews went well this week though, so that's dope. What are some subtle signs of depression that most people ignore? Their house is a mess. Their car is a mess. They procrastinate anything small or major. They avoid even minorly unpleasant scenarios. They lack a routine. Their diet is poor and they either eat too much or not enough. They overindulge in video games or streaming or similar activities to escape reality. They neglect their responsibilities and loved ones, often slowly and unknowingly. They suffer from a memory deficit. They suffer from fatigue. They lack motivation. They sleep too much yet struggle to fall asleep. What's the worst excuse for cheating? This one happened to a good friend of mine. I was with him just after this little gem was dropped on him. Took him some time to recover. I actually wasn't cheating on you. I was dating other guy first, so I was actually cheating on him. Madam President of the Society of Pedantics didn't see an issue with what she said. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up more than I thought it would. Waking up to see all the kind words people on Reddit are sending has made me smile today. I'll try to reply to as many as I can. My friend is doing well. He stopped dating for a while to focus on himself and improving his own situation. It's a little over a year after the breakup with his ex and he's doing well in life. To everyone who has had a similar / the same thing happen to them, I'm so sorry. You deserve better. Remember, you are loved. There are people who genuinely love you in your life. If you have someone in your life that fake loves you, you don't deserve that, and they don't deserve you. What was the incident at your school? Two of my high school teachers told me these two stories. My English teacher told me that some years before I was in her class she had this one kid who was tall and kind of big, but he was quiet and never caused any trouble and did his work for the most part. Well, one day he comes in with his hand wrapped in bandages, and when asked what happened he gave a non-committal answer. Flash forward a couple of weeks and the kid hasn't been in class for about 2 weeks and she asks the class where he is. All the kids get quiet and one kid pipes up he was arrested for beating and R-wording a girl. He's going to juvie. My science teacher Mr. B told me this. He had a student, a girl, who was a hard worker and had a good attitude and was well behaved, but within the span of a few weeks her grades began to drop and she began to act out, and one day she blew up at another student. So Mr. B took her outside and asked her that before he wrote her up, is there anything going on? That caused the outburst because she was a good student and was smart, and she just broke down and told him that there was a dead body under her bed. Come to find out her mom had killed her the mom's boyfriend and hid him under the girl's bed, and she had been sleeping with a dead body in her room for a couple of weeks. What is your "we will never speak of this again" moment? The smoking hot guy I met the prior weekend asked me out and, naturally, I said yes, because I just met him. I asked if I could drive, and he said no problem. On the way to get some grub, we're cruising along with the perfect tunes playing in the car, windows down, on an absolutely beautiful night. He looks over, I look over. We're both just sparkling, you know? It was one of those moments where you want to take a mental snapshot, and then, I guess we must have driven through an area of something he was allergic to, because he sneezed a couple small ones, then with one massive blow, honked a huge wad of snot all over my windshield and dashboard. But, unbelievably, that's not the worst part. No. He pretended like it didn't happen, and went about talking, and scooping it up with his hands and smearing it onto his pants. I was beyond mortified. I was throwing up in my mouth, my eyes were watering, and he didn't want me to pull over to get it cleaned up. We had to go to dinner like that, with snotty pants. Sigh. I ended up marrying him. We have never, ever spoken of it again. Not even 40 years later. People have Reddit, what ended your friendship with your best friend? I had a good friend in 8th grade who was a very kind and affectionate person. Never had a crush on her at all. We were physically affectionate people, never sexual. She would mess with my hair, and sometimes put her hand on my leg, so I did the same. At the time, her boyfriend was aware of our relationship, and was cool with it. I even was good friends with him. One day, I got called to the principal's office and I walked into my mother, father, principal, and a police officer asking me to sit down. I felt like someone I knew died, but no, they said that she had accused me of sexually assaulting her. I spent 2 hours crying, giving them my phone, watching them comb through my texts, reviewing video footage, and interviewing the boyfriend and the girl. In the end, she lied to her parents because she got caught that she was dating her boyfriend, and used me as a scapegoat, and saying her boyfriend hit her. The police called my household and said that I was free, and that if we wanted to sue, we would win. The rest of the year, anytime I saw her, I walked away and threw up because I felt like I was a monster. After severe depression, I sat in my room and got over it. The following years, the boyfriend and I would joke about it all the time. Good man, terrible friend girl.